Good evening, everybody. We are suffering a little bit with people who've got power cuts in the most strangest places tonight. So we are under the power cut law tonight. We heard Ruan was going to join us. Hendrik has been found very busy, and Ian has also suffered with power cuts, and consistently everybody suffers with power cuts. Anyway, I think tonight's main opportunity is just to have a quick catch up. I'm just going to give a very brief overview of where we are currently. And then what I'll do is, please guys, use the, at the bottom of your screen, use the chats if you've got things you want questions on. Yolanda, and specifically any clients who want to ask a specific question tonight, we'll field the questions live. I'm going to try and field the questions live. Please, no spamming and no selling your products over here. I know that we've got people who think they've got the most amazing engine additives, but this is not the place to sell the engine additives, if they don't mind so much, please. Okay, so if we can, our whole idea tonight is to try and clear up any questions there are. I've got one or two questions I will actually deal with directly, and then I'll ask the, if you want, we'll run a set of links again like we did last time on the questions that are fielded this evening. If anything comes up that needs legal reference, I will get a proper legal answer if that's necessary. But I'll also update you with what has happened over the last couple of days as well. Okay, so get your questions into the Q&A, please, everybody. We really do want to deal with your questions. I'm going to just go back to a specific thing which has been asked to me a couple of times now. And let me also get that screen up. Give me 1 second, and I'll get this. I'll also share the screen with you. But it's a specific question that has been posted. It's about who we are, who's who in the zoo, which has come up again, and that seems to be a lot of people are saying, "Wow, I didn't know this. Is this really what the situation is?" And so on. So I'm going to share my screen with you so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Give me a second. Share screen, and get the right one up, and there we are. Share, there we are. That's where we are. Okay, so just so that everybody knows what we're talking about, I'm just going to move this all down. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem when we get the video later. So we created this. We created this page just so to clarify certain things, and we discussed last time as well that there was originally we started as RAG. Get a Quid, the website was used as RAG, a recovery action group. And that's when we started in 2020, in December 2020. This is after the 14th of December when Johan Steinberg vanished off the face of the earth. We started as RAG, and Anton Lee and his group filed the application for the provisional liquidation. And that was heard, I think, on the 19th or something of January, somewhere around January. But at that time, there was a lot of things going on. The Financial Services Authority in South Africa had filed, had done certain inspections and found that there was massive problems with the MTI trading platform. Okay, then what happened was after the liquidation, we left, and then Henry Honeyball and his group formed the RAC group. This was Henry, they took over. At the time, there was a difference of opinion between us because he was obviously had a lot of people under him as well, and a substantial number of people that he was working with, but mostly winners. And then they all they were going to try and keep the whole thing alive. And as I said to you, every opportunity was given to Mr. Clinton Marx and to Mr. Johan Steinberg to come to court and tell us that it wasn't necessary to liquidate the company. Here are all the assets, we can sort it out. That never happened. There was no proper presentation for them. There was no reason. They couldn't oppose the liquidation at the time. Well, they did oppose the liquidation, but they couldn't supply sufficient evidence that the company was liquid, because it wasn't making payments. I'm also one of those people who at the time in December put in an application for deposits to come through to me, which never actually came. And I must give every credit to the liquidators when we've been working with them, although it showed on some of our people's claim forms that on their actual back office, it showed that they'd been repaid. The liquidators were able to sort out that they hadn't been repaid, and those claims in the end went through pretty accurately to what the status was. So there are some good things there, but in the end, at the moment, we are sitting with a situation where there are not sufficient funds to repay everybody that's on the system, as far as I can see. But the other thing too is I don't know how many claims are in, and we haven't got a record of that yet from the liquidators. So maybe there are less claims in than the amount of money, because they have substantially, they've recovered something like 1.1 billion rand from the they've recovered 1.1 billion rand from the Bitcoin, which they recovered and sold. So they are sitting on a massive pot at the moment. Okay, so there was talk that we were going to get some interim payments, and we're pushing for that at the moment. But that is still, there's no true horizon on that application from them. Okay, all right. So then we came back. Then in round about December of 2021, everybody came. A lot of people came back to me and said, this thing is not getting sorted out. We've got a big problem. And that's when GetAquid, I decided not to use the name RAG. I didn't want to be involved with the net winners. And we actually then got GetAquid back up and running. And we started working through all the documentation that had been supplied to Hendrik van Staden to help him with the administration on his side, and also to draw in new people or any people who wanted us to help them sort out their documentation. We got involved. And you guys know what happened. There was the creditors meeting where we intervened and we discussed everything, and we started getting claims approved. The claims started getting approved by the liquidators, and we're following through with that at the moment. So as we are today, where we are today, apart from these two horrendous court cases that are going in all sorts of directions, at the moment where we are today, we've got a repository of information of each client's information that works with us, and that's a member of the GetAquid COGS system, the COGS repository. And on the COGS repository, we've got all the information that the client has submitted to us, and we share that when it's appropriate. Excuse me, we share that with the liquidators. And then what happens is, once we've shared that, we discuss, the liquidators come back to us with a claim number, they assign a claim number to it, and they give us a claim value. We then communicate that claim value to the client. The client accepts or rejects it. We don't try and influence them either way. What is right is right. And if there's differences of opinion, we try and sort out those differences of opinion. I must be honest with you, at this stage of the game, we do have a number of a very small percentage of people who don't agree with the figures in the end. But in the greater majority of cases, more than 98% of cases, we've actually been able to settle on a figure which is mutually acceptable by the investor and by the liquidators, and then that then settles that claim in value, and it can be submitted to the master and finalized, master of the Supreme Court, and then it can be finalized. So that is the procedure. Any questions about that, please post them. Yolanda is here, she works with us all the time. We've had meetings about a week, 10 days ago, with the liquidator's office. We are constantly processing these things at the moment, and we're working through them. The other email which I put out, which is creating quite a lot of things at the moment, is if we go back to GetAquid, we just go to the top here and we go to the blogs. That's the COGS and on services, and we go to the blog posts. The other email, Wolf or Sheep. This here is a lot of people are coming back to me and saying, well, I didn't know who I was with. Was I with the wolves or the sheep? And please, guys, I'm not trying to point any fingers at anyone. I'm just highlighting certain factors, that there are two groups. There are two very clear groups in this whole process. The first group is the group who are the people with the most, how can I say, almost with the most vested interest. They are the people like Clinton Marks, Johan Steinberg, and then certain of the people who were in the management teams and who were actually promoting this from the original source. Now, where different people fall within those groups, I don't know. What they did they know that the trading information that was given to Group 2 was inaccurate, was highly inaccurate, wasn't true at all? We don't know. But those sort of things are the type of things that really need to be resolved. So we have Group 1 and we have Group 2. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Group 2 are people who have innocently come into this whole process and were only interested in the investment growth that they saw in the process. Now, we want to primarily, our job, GetAquid's job, is to represent the net losers, those people who actually lost a lot more Bitcoin than they gained out of the system. But I will also say to you, we have a very large number of people who saw this as an investment, and they are funding and helping a lot of people to be able to get their claims done. And they didn't know what was going on in the back office, and didn't know, were totally unaware that the information they were given to promote this investment was inaccurate. There's not been a single document, process, anything that has been able to be presented which didn't shout and say very clearly that this investment process was actually working properly. The figures that we got and the payouts that we got and all those things that we were given while we were part of the scheme were, as far as I'm concerned, not accurate, did not reflect the true status of what was going. It's like somebody owning a company and saying, I'm making profits, in the meantime they're making losses. And they're saying making profits so that you come in, and they're bringing you in under false pretenses. But obviously that at this stage of the game is also why certain people ran away and why they got lost in the whole process. So, and just so that everybody understands really what the actual status was, I was given today a document. I was given a document a couple of days ago, actually, of which was prepared by the solicitors for Mr. Clinton Marks, and it's for the presentation and the process that's going on the 31st of October. And I've basically gone through the document, and the information and the status, I think, that is reflected in that document is pretty accurate. There were, at the time that MTI was closed down in December of 2020, there was one director, one managing director. And at that stage of the game, that was Johan Steinberg. And then there were two shareholders. There was 50% of the shares belonged to Clinton Marks, and 50% of the shares belonged to Johan Steinberg. Now, the rest of the ins and outs are not declared in this document. Nobody else is actually reflected in the document. This is a presentation by Celsa Law, and they are representing Mr. Clinton Marks, and make mention of Mr. Henry Honeyball as well in this document, which was also, they jointly put in their submissions during the court case, which was around March, which is still to be adjudicated on by Judge DeWet. So, and that return order date for that is the 8th of November. The return order date for this interim order is the 31st of October. And we are going to be, over the next day or two, having discussions as to what we will do in terms of our reply to the interim order. I think actually we have meetings tomorrow set up with the solicitors to make up final applications. Okay, so that's the status at the moment. So very, very important. Celsa Law in their document very clearly say that this interim order is going to affect everybody. Everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are in the MTI saga. If that interim order is not vehemently opposed and tried to put down, we are all just going to suffer costs and time delays as a result of that interim order. There is also a problem of law, which they bring out very clearly in their document, that this was an illegal application, and I believe that to an extent it was. I think they are quite right as far as that is concerned. Okay, right, so that's where we are. Now, I'm just going to just drop this share for a minute. So just to be sure now, Group 1 is Johan Steinberg, all the major startup guys who were in management team. I don't know who they were and what they knew. That's for them to resolve with authorities. But the Group 2 guys are just the promoters, as far as I'm concerned. All the promoters working together with their teams to try to get their actual claims resolved. And my approach is by working with whoever the authorities are at the time, because there are applications. There are a number of applications to have the liquidators removed, which have not been finalized as of yet. And I know that there are a lot of undercurrents going on as far as that's concerned. Okay, I think those are the two main things that have been happening. The third thing is, guys, I really cannot tell you how seriously I'm only appealing to the best of my ability to all of you, that please, you've got to, wherever you can, dig in your pockets and help us get these applications funded, so we can so that we can move and act and commit resources to resolving this. And it's really funny, but in actual fact, if everybody if everybody on our lists just donated, 400 or 500 rand, we would actually have sufficient funds. So if the way it normally goes is we've had quite a few people who've really stepped up to the plate and donated 2,000 rand or a little bit more. And there are other people, and I also appreciate this, who've donated like 10 pounds or 15 pounds because that's what they can do, or 100 rand or 200 rand or 300 rand. We've even got people who've committed to giving us 300 rand over 3 months. I really appreciate that. But guys, please, if it means you're not going to eat maybe a little bit less, couple of less bread for the month, if we can prevent what's going to happen with this interim order, if we can prevent what's happening in the courts at the moment, if we can smooth this ship out and get things sorted, every penny that we put into it, every millimeter of time and effort we put into it is worthwhile in the end for all of you. All of you are involved in this, and everybody is involved in it. All the investors, every single one of them, especially the people in Group 2. And unfortunately, we in Group 2 are the people who made the least amount of money out of this whole process. Therefore, we are the poorest people in this whole process. And we're not like the liquidators who've got R1 billion rand to work with, and I don't know how much else they've got to work with. We aren't like that at all. So we can't litigate endlessly. We've got to litigate or oppose at the right levels, and hopefully justice will be on our side. But I also appreciate that, and today probably about 10 or 15 of the emails I worked with were people saying to me, sorry, I can't give you anything. And I appreciate that. I appreciate people writing back and saying, sorry, I can't, because I've got to decide whether I'm going to have a bread to eat tonight or not. It's not a question that I've got any money. I appreciate that. But guys, look at it as a charity. Please look at it as a charity. You're helping your fellow investors, because you're not only helping us do this work for you, but you're also helping the other investors. And honestly, up until now, Anton Lee is probably one of the people on our side in the Group 2 who has invested more in our protection than any other person singularly. And I don't even want to know what it's costing. I think it's a magnanimous amount of money. And Ruan Kruger as well. I know what his bill was at the previous court case when he went down with his advocate. I know what that bill was. Hendrik van Staden has been on his feet around this thing forever and a day. And Hendrik is one of the people. And I know there are a lot of people who say, look, I've submitted my documents to Hendrik van Staden. What's going on? Well, Hendrik doesn't have the facilities to do the administration. That's the reason Get Acquit came in to do the administration. So Hendrik's people, we've been writing to you. We've been telling you, all of you people who signed up with Hendrik, we have been trying to help as many people as we can, but we can't do all the administration if we don't get support to do it. Guys, honestly, on a daily basis, we probably handle anything from 100 to 200 inquiries. We've got a Facebook inquiry going. We've got a Telegram inquiry going. We've got WhatsApp inquiries going. We've got phone calls going. Got emails going. We're running 2 email campaigns at the same time. We're trying to keep everybody involved. And then I get people. I tell you, I got one email. I tell you, I never knew anyone could use so many swear words at once. He must have thought my name was Cherie or something. Wow, he laid into us. I tell you, it was like we had to go get washed and bathed afterwards. I don't know why he was so cross with us, but anyway, he really did lay into us. Anyway, that's just life, guys. I know people are suffering. I know it's painful, and we were probably the closest for him to get that. Okay, we take the punch. Right, so those things, I just want to be sure that you know where this information is about Group 1 and Group 2, and also who's who in the zoo, okay? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. Now, if you guys can just tell me what questions we've got this evening. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a person saying, I will also contribute more money, but what does my monthly payments go towards?
Okay. All right. So the monthly payments are basically to keep the admin staff answering emails, running the COGS repository, doing all the administration that involves the liquidators and various other things like that. That's basically what it is. And I can honestly say to you guys, if you wanted to have that audited, I have no problem with that. And you will notice that the people who actually do all the work are taking out less than a minimum salary to do that work. And that is absolutely true. I spend personally, I spend probably 3 to 4 hours, maybe even 5 hours every single day, talking to people, finding out what's going on, reading, coordinating, and all the rest of that. And I don't get a salary out of this. And we've got to run the website, we've got to pay for the webinars, we've got to pay for admin. We run to keep everybody updated. On every occasion, we send out in the region of 18 to 20,000 emails to different people. 18,000 emails per occasion. On a webinar like the one we're having tonight, we've only done this webinar internally, but we externally notified everybody that we are having this webinar so that they knew that the people who are members and who have contributed have actually got some exclusive rights. And the way we deal with things at the moment is our priority is to deal with people who are members. So anybody who's paying membership fees and they've got queries and questions and anything like that, we deal with them as priority. That's the way we do it. And the people on the outside who are not contributing, we make some of the information available, but not all the internal information is available to them. So that's what this is about, is to keep this whole thing going, keeping the repository going, paying for the storage, all the connections, and all the people that are working in the GetAquid system at the moment to keep the whole thing together. That's what that fee is going towards. And it's a non-profit organization, guys. So it's a registered non-profit organization. So once the auditors and the bookkeepers get hold of all of the information, it has to be, GetAquid is a registered non-profit organization. If in the end we don't use all the funds, they will be repatriated back to the people according to their individual payments. But honestly, we are spending a lot more money than what we are getting in. There's no doubt about that. Yolanda doesn't get a salary. I don't get a salary. Natasha doesn't get a salary. And there are various people who are working with us, solicitors and things, who've had nothing out of this yet. Okay. All right. So is that kind of answer it? I see I've got two hands up here at the moment. Is Yolanda, any other questions there right now?
Chris, I have two more questions. It's linked. The one is, what will the court hearing on the 31st of the month entail? And the other one is, how much total funds are you looking to raise to get these things moving faster and challenge the liquidators effectively in court? I figure the faster we get the money raised, the faster the process will go. Because when you address that, you said that the monthly contributions cover the very basic outgoings, but you did not really say exactly how much would be required to appoint barristers and solicitors to represent GetAquid on the 31st.
Okay, our target figure is 150,000 Rand. We need to get to 150,000 Rand to be comfortable. That's the legal fee we've got to get to. The last presentation of that our legal side went to was around 130,000 Rand that we still have a backlog on. But the solicitors and advocates and lawyers at this stage of the game are looking forward. We're not trying to raise that backlog at the moment. We are looking at a different way of doing it, and we'll get back to you guys about it. We're busy structuring something else that we can do in the future. But at this stage of the game, that's our target, is 150,000 Rand. And I think Anton was here. I don't know what's happened to him. I think Anton might have suffered from power cuts as well, because things seem to be pretty bad in South Africa at the moment.
So just, sorry to interrupt. So just briefly explain, if you can, what the hearing on the 31st of October will entail, and what will happen if we cannot afford to send the legal team because we have not raised enough money.
Okay, it's actually Henry Seltzer's document actually lays out in quite a lot of detail what the application at the moment is. What's happened is there's a request for an interim order for certain things that actually are inaccurate in terms of the actual law itself. So what's happened is this interim order, if this interim order is not allayed and put down, then the liquidators can get, first of all, they can get inference that the Ponzi scheme was applicable, because the actual judgment, the actual first court action was about the illegal business practice, the Ponzi scheme. And what happened was, because that judge has not ruled on that first application yet, they referred in their application as if it was already ruled. And that means that all the things that we stood against in the first application, everything we fought about in the first application, was never reported to this second interim order judge. put it that way, the one that is due on the 31st of October. So what we have to do is there's a whole lot of cases that can be overruled and implications put on those other cases if we don't oppose this and bring it to the judge's attention on the 31st of October, that we feel that this interim order is premature and it should not go through because it will adversely affect the actual investors, and it will adversely affect everybody because they are in their request in the interim order. If you had put in, let's say, 5 Bitcoin and then withdrew 2 Bitcoin and then later put back 3 Bitcoin, you have to actually go back and put back the 2 Bitcoin you withdrew, irrespective of the other Bitcoin you have on credit. And a lot of people are not in a position to do that because that's the type of thing that is in that interim order. It relies on archaic laws, which they brought in, and it makes it even more difficult for people who have had any payout to reclaim the balances they've got in the fund. So that's going to affect a lot of people, because a lot of people, when there were problems in September of 2020, drew out some money to see if they could withdraw money. And then they thought, now everything is fine. And Johan Steinberg came on and Sherry came on, bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. It's all good. We're all good. Don't worry, guys. And then everybody put their money back because they thought, well, we can withdraw the money. And then Johan Steinberg on the 14th of December vanished like the scum, and nobody knew where he was. And probably 1/3 to half of the Bitcoin vanished off the face of the earth with him. And all of a sudden, no matter what you did, you couldn't withdraw your funds anymore. So there's all the influences of that interim order on how that whole process will be dealt with is something that we have to oppose. And we also have to oppose that interim order because everybody has put in a lot of work into the first court case, which the judges called for evidence, more evidence to be delivered on the 8th of November, which everybody believes will go to oral evidence. And we need to be in that process to protect the individual investors. That is really important for us to be presented there and to limit the effects of the illegal business practice. Because if the legal business practice goes across the whole board, it means that anybody, even if you invested and withdrew nothing, you're still going to be regarded as if you are a participant in a Ponzi scheme. And that's part of what we are fighting against, because we are saying that there was illegal business practice as far as we are concerned. From the evidence that we have seen, there was illegal business practice at the top of the chain. But inside the chain, the rest of the individuals were not acting as criminals. If anybody wants to donate 100,000 Rand, they can have a personal discussion with any one of our lawyers. I will set that up personally so they can talk to Hendrik van Staden or anybody else. You know, guys, if any of you are saying, look, I want to really, really know exactly what you're going to do with this money that I'm going to donate, this 200,000 Rand, I promise you can talk to all my lawyers for a long time, and I will sit down and even have tea with you if it's necessary. But we need to help each other, guys, honestly. I can't stress this enough.
I've just had another question regarding that. It is, what is the cutoff date for raising the funds?
The cutoff date for raising the funds was yesterday, but we can't cut off at the moment because we've got to try and get sufficient funds. We have to get the funds we need for the 31st of October. And we were discussing some of that stuff today, and we are having further discussions on that tomorrow. But we really do need it as soon as possible, because I mean, you can't go to a solicitor at number 99 and say, okay, this is now the 30th of October. Here's the money, prepare for tomorrow. It's not going to work. It takes time. This is 32 pages. I'm sitting here with 32 pages. This is one submission. There are 400 pages in one submission on the return date on the 8th of November. There were 4,000 pages in the court case, the previous court case before the interim order. Massive amount of work that has to go into it. I have already read, just in the 31st of October, to try and highlight things. I have already read quite a number of things that, number of pages, 2 sets of documents, and the smallest one of those was nearly 120 pages. So a lot of preparation work that has to go into it. I can also say to you guys that our accountants these funds are isolated. They're not in our general working funds. And if I promise you this, if we don't use these funds, if we haven't got enough funds and we aren't going to present, we'll just return all the funds. I'm not going to hold on to other people. I don't want other people's money. I'm not interested. I know how hard it is for you people to help us out here. I give you my word that you'll have every penny back if we can't use it. If there's not enough funds, I'll just give it back. And then we'll just keep doing that. But if we can't use it, we can't use it. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay? All right. Okay, now I see Peter Creel. What do you want, Peter? Do you want to have a quick chat with us? Peter, I'm going to ask you to unmute. You have been asked to unmute. Peter, go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, at least you got a good surname. I hope it's going to be a good discussion, Peter.
Yes, we got the same surname.
Yeah.
Chris, I haven't been following everything consistently, and I just want to know, can we still submit claims, or is it too late?
No. Claims are fine. We've got a long way to work on the claims at the moment. You can submit claims. That hasn't been closed or anything, so you can submit the claims. The best thing is to get hold of just get hold of our subscription services, submit the claims, get everything in, and we can work through it with the liquidators. No, that's no problem. At the moment, the liquidators are coming back to us with claim values, and we are negotiating the claim values with the clients. A lot of times they come back with a claim value, and it's a simple. The client just wants to know how that claim value was worked out, and most of the time the guys are happy with what they're coming back with. My claim was spot on. Actually, I got a little bit more than what I expected, to be honest with you.
Okay. If one had withdrawn money at a certain stage, then obviously you can't claim everything that you invested. So, but can one claim the difference between what you put in and what you withdraw? Can you do that?
Yeah. Look, as long as it works like this, say for instance you put in 10 Bitcoin as an example, okay, and then you withdrew 5 Bitcoin. You can still claim the other 5 Bitcoin. There's no reason you can't do that. But if you put in 10 Bitcoin and your Bitcoin grew to 25 Bitcoin and you withdrew 15 Bitcoin, that other 10 Bitcoin you cannot claim because you've withdrawn more Bitcoin than you put into the pot because the investment side was bogus. Does that make sense? So you have to strip out the rubbish that they told you about all the investment and all the subs, because the problem is that the subs were also unreal and in effect were not legal, because if they paid the subs from actually growth, then it wouldn't have been a problem. But paying the subs and there's no growth makes it illegal. So that it's a question of how many physical Bitcoin did you put in, how many Bitcoin did you withdraw, and if that is still a positive number, then you have a claim. If that is a negative number, you'll probably be called to repay those Bitcoin. But if you're honest and they know it all G's up, then we'll be able to make arrangements, hopefully make arrangements with the liquidators how that money can be repaid. But if you're running away and you need to repay and the liquidators have to come after you, they will take your onderbroek, my friend. No worries.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris.
Is that clear? Yeah, it's good.
That's fine. Thanks.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Peter. Nice meeting you.
Okay.
Van watter kriele is jy?
Hulle kom van die Kaap af, my voorouers, maar ek het hulle nog nie gevolg end uit tot waar hulle vandaan kom nie. Ek dink hulle kom van Holland of van Duitsland, ek is nie seker nie.
Ja, die kring van kom eintlik uit Duitsland uit, glo dit of nie.
Ja.
Baie interessant. Okay.
Baie dankie Chris.
Good.
I've had a very interesting question asking why we do not join hands with RAG to fight the actions together.
With RAC, with RAC.
RAC.
Yeah. Okay. The reason for that is the reason for that is really simple. If you are a absolute net winner, okay, say for instance, I had a downline of 1,000 people. I would have, if those 1,000 people had all invested, say, 1 Bitcoin, then, and I was getting 10% of that, I would have had 100 Bitcoin out of those 1,000 people. And if I had withdrawn 20 Bitcoin, my approach is going to be different in certain aspects than the others, because I will want to delay the system. The more I delay and the more I create problems, the less time, the more time I have to run away, hide my Bitcoin, move everything into trusts, do all sorts of things. It's not in my interest to get this thing resolved. So if I'm a net winner and I'm sitting here and this is being liquidated, I'm not going to jump up and go to the liquidators and say, listen, guys, I'm going to give you back 100 Bitcoin. Let's settle this. I'm going to say, no. You guys don't know what you're doing. Fight. And I move everything into trusts and move it offshore and do all sorts of things while all of this is going on. Yet if I'm a net loser, I want to win as quickly as possible so that I can get paid out. That's the difference. Yes, we do join them, and there is a possibility that there are certain things that certain applications where we have actually said yes, and we joined these applications for the same reasons, but we oppose those applications because it's not in our interest. If the liquidators sit down and they came to us and said to us, okay, we want to settle this out, let's get an agreement with all the net winners and those with all the net losers and net winners who are in the group 2, and get this resolved as quickly as possible so that we can pay out a dividend, then why should we oppose it? But if I'm a net winner and I'm a major net winner, I don't want that thing to be resolved, because the quicker those sort of situations come to an end, the quicker I am going to be having to make a repayment. And then I'm saying to all of if I'm this net winner, I'm this big net winner, then I'm saying to all of the investors, don't submit your claims. Because the longer you take to submit your claims, the less this thing can be resolved, because there's too many unknowns. But if I get all your claims in, if I'm as a net loser, I get all the net losers in and get all their claims in, the sooner I get that, the quicker you can have a dividend paid out and the quicker we can resolve things. So there are certain issues we take, that are right that we should uphold with them, but there are a lot of issues that are different, and the overall objective is different. So put yourself in that place. If you were a massive winner, would you be opposing everything that was going on at the moment? The answer is yes. I mean, if the liquidator sneezed, you would say, I want a court case. I don't want him sneezing because he might contaminate me, and we'll have a court case about it. And that's another 3 to 6 months that I don't have to repay the funds. Whereas if I'm a net loser, I don't care if the liquidator sneezes. I just want to get on with it and get my money back. So there are definite issues where we agree with them, but there are a lot of issues that we don't agree with. And there has been a lot of falsification going on the side of the net winners, and they bring the thing is that you've got to be careful as well, because it doesn't matter what you do. The actual original MTI program and repository was actually quite accurately taken off the system. It was actually handed over by the people in India who were running it, because in India, if you were caught with fraud, you go to jail for 20 years. You cannot be caught doing a fraudulent thing in India. So they were really eager to settle out with our liquidators and hand over that information. So that information has been given to the liquidators. And that's why the liquidators have, to a large extent, come up with something really positive. Anton, I see you've got your hand up. Would you like to make a comment, my friend? Go for it. Anton, you can unmute yourself if you want.
Evening, Chris. No, my hand is not up.
Oh, it was up. Do you want to add anything to that as well?
No. What you said is 100% correct.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody else who's got a direct question? You guys want to put up your hands? I'm quite happy to take questions. I want us to try and clarify things as much as we possibly can. Yolanda, questions on your side? Lucille, on your side?
Yes, I have another question. What if the claim is not submitted by the cutoff date? What will happen?
You won't have a claim. Simple. It's really simple. Yeah, what'll happen? What'll happen is when these things, guys, I don't know what the true figure is. I'll be honest with you. The liquidators are talking about 20,000 claims. We know that in our repository, we've got about 18,000 emails from different people who at the time have communicated with us. I have no idea what the final figure was. There's all sorts of figures. I mean, there's even people talking. I mean, at one stage, Johan Steinbach was saying we're dealing with 110,000 people. I think he was dealing with 12,000 people. But I don't know that. I think the only people who will really know is the liquidators. It'd be nice to get figures from them. But guys, I'll tell you what, there's a hell of a lot of work into getting this resolved. So let's say, for instance, let's be reasonable now. Let's say at the moment we've got about 4,000 or 5,000 claims that have been approved by the master of the court. Just as a figure, guys, I'm not sure about this, so please just take this as a thumbs up. So we've got 4,000 or 5,000 people that have had their claims approved. If there are another 15,000 out there, and this has taken 4 months to do, and we've got 3 times that much to do, just 3 times. We're not talking maybe even 10 times that much. It means that there's another year that this has to be running if the people submit their claims. But I mean, I've had a couple of guys, this guy who swore at me so badly this last week, actually, I'm going to bath again tonight. But if there's a lot of people who are not submitting their claims because they just don't want to carry on with it. There's a lot of people who've actually, I think, just made a decision they don't want to go after the money, or they just lost the plot completely because they didn't have GetAquid to help them through. So there, did you get that? Bit of advertising there. Okay, so I think that's the sort of thing that you're sitting with. So somewhere the liquidators are going to say, okay, we're going to give 4 months for everybody to get their claims in. Now remember, if you've been with us and you've had your claim and you've got your figure and it's been submitted to the master and it's all finished, you don't have a deadline. You're done. It's finished. It's over. If, however, you're sitting out there waiting for this submission and you've now got this 4 months, where are you going to be in that queue? And how many people are going to fall off at the end who are not going to have their claims completed? Because you can't just turn this on like a tap. It doesn't work like that. There are too many procedures and things that have to happen through the process of your claim. Your documents have to be correct. They've got to be checked. Your bank accounts have to be sorted. Your claim value has to be sorted backwards and forwards. And it all has to gel at the end, and then it comes together. It's not going to happen overnight. No one's going to, oh, I'm going to get my claim done now. You can't go to the garage and fill your car with tank, your tank with petrol. By the time you go there, that garage might not be there anymore. It really is like that as well. Does that cover it, Yolanda? What do you think? Are we okay?
I think you've covered it. So
Okay.
basically, it takes a long time to get the claim approved. It's a process. So if there's 2 days to go to claim cutoff date, there's no way that it will be processed in time.
Yeah, I mean, even if all of a sudden, the moment the liquidators say, okay, we have to get these claims approved by, even if it's 6 months from now, at that stage, everybody's going to think, oh, I've got to get my claim approved. And if you've got 20,000 people pushing documents your way, nightmare, absolute nightmare. Total nightmare.
You see, we are going to struggle. The liquidators are also going to struggle. So there will be various bottlenecks.
That's right. Okay. Okay, guys. Nobody else. I must have done a really good job tonight. Are you all scared of me this evening? Come on. I don't see any hands here. Has anyone else got a question they want to throw our way this evening? Now imagine, guys, if all of you give us 1,000 Rand tonight, everybody who had this really, really good presentation tonight, we would have, I would say we'd probably be there to get this all done and dusted. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Sorry, no pressure, no pressure. Okay. All right, Anton, I'm going to go around the thing. Yolanda, is there any other questions? Lucille? Okay, Yolanda?
Yes, one more question. Says, does it mean that when your claim gets paid, it effectively ends your subscription to GetAquid? And
no, we still have lots of costs on that. And remember, the original idea was that we keep the subscription as low as we possibly can, so that it helps everybody. And so that the repository, because the repository still needs to be paid with, we still need to keep contact with the liquidators, we still have to read documents, we have all of those things that carry on all the time. And yeah, you know, in the end, we're not out there to make money out of this, but at the same time, we are now looking at how to help people. We've started, and please, maybe you can just put that. I just put that up quickly. We are starting to, we've got people who will sponsor other people, so we are looking at sponsorship as well. So there are quite a number of old people who've come to us and said, I can't pay for this, I need it to be sponsored. And we are trying to sponsor and help them as well. And they submit their applications through the sponsor link, SPONSOR is the link. So it's just getaquid.com/sponsor, and they can submit their application for sponsorship through that. And we've actually got a commitment for sponsorship for a number of people as well now, which we can use. So if anybody is out there, they can make application for sponsorship as well.
I just want to add to that. I was asked whether when a claim gets paid, whether it effectively ends your subscription. As I understood it, the liquidators will evaluate the money that they would have received, and then they will declare an interim payment. and then they will recover more funds and they will declare another interim payment. So that can be a process. So basically what we will be doing is ensuring that the maximum can be recovered and the maximum be paid out. So we will be a thorn in the side of liquidators for the duration until they close claim submission. So basically, I would suggest that you stay subscribed, because as long as you are a member of Etiquette, we will fight for you. And we will be a pain in any one side that try to obstruct Etiquette.
Yeah, the documentation is assignments to Hendrik van Staden and ourselves to act on your behalf. So we take it upon ourselves to look after whatever is going on there as much as we possibly can with the funds that we have available. So supporting Etiquette either through the specific donations which are directed at these that are directed at the court cases is slightly different to the monthly subscription, because right from the beginning we started the monthly subscription as low as we possibly could to try to get the whole thing off the ground. I must also say that we didn't expect we expected more people to sign up than what we've got at the moment, and we are struggling to make ends meet most of the time from the subscription, because the amount of work it takes is more than what we anticipated in a lot of ways. But there are continuous costs. There are costs for the repository, for keeping your documents on file, for having those documents available for when the liquidators need them. And there might be value changes in your claims, but remember your claims have been approved. So the actual claim value might slightly change because of interpretation, but at least that's on record and it is available for the liquidators to work with. And they know exactly what they're working with. So they know that the backup documents are in place and everything is in place. So this is still going to take a little bit of time. But the better we can go into this legal battle that we are facing, the more we are empowered by you, from you people, the more we are empowered financially, the better support we can ask from the solicitors and the advocates. That's just the way life is, guys. Okay. All right. Is there anything else, Yolanda? Okay. Any last words from your side? Nothing? Okay, nobody's got their hands up. Everyone's asleep. Anton, anything from your side, my friend?
Yes, Chris, just a question that I get a lot. Members ask if their claims has been accepted or not. Are there a way possibly that we can make a list on the website as well, maybe somehow that we can have something where a person can go look up if his name is, or if his claim was accepted or not, if it's possible?
Well, Anton, the way this works is when a person submits these documents, when we've got all these documents, we submit those documents to the liquidator. And the moment the liquidators come back with a claim value, we communicate that directly to that person. So he gets an email. We don't sit on that. The moment we get those claims back from the liquidator, the value and the numbers and everything else, we give that to the actual subscriber.
Yes.
So he knows that's where it is. So a subscriber if a subscriber's got a question, he can ask us. He can say, where is my claim? What's going on? It's no problem doing that. We normally answer those questions and tell him, look, we are at this stage. We'll look into his file as well. We'll say, no, we haven't submitted your stuff because you haven't signed this power of attorney. We haven't got that. And that's ongoing. We're not just letting it sit. Does that make sense? We're continually going through the process. A while back, we sent out tons of emails to people saying, we haven't got your documents yet. We need these documents. We need that. So we're continually going through the stuff. If someone comes with a specific inquiry, we'll go back. Let me just finish, and then you can see how it works, and so that everybody can hear it. So we'll go back and we will go through his documentation, and then we'll say for him, oh, no, this is with the liquidators now. Then we have to wait for the liquidators. When the liquidator comes back with a value, we then write to him and say, look, the liquidators are offering you, say for instance, 25,000 Rand, and this is how they've calculated. Is that acceptable to you or not? And then the guy says to us, no, this or that, and then we go back until he's happy and we're happy and the liquidators are happy, and then he gets an email that says, okay, this is what your claim is value is. It's settled at this value now. Everybody's happy. Are you happy? Yes. And then he has to sign an acceptance. He signs an acceptance. So we send him an email with, please sign this acceptance to value. And then he knows. Now that's done. He knows that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. And I understand the procedure. But what my question is for other members that's, let's say they just log into our website, okay? And there might be a page that says all these members claims has been approved. Then they can see. It's not maybe maybe I'm not a paid member, nothing, but now I can see. Listen, these people are working. Their claims are getting accepted. I must join them.
Yeah, Anton, the problem is that we will get hammered by the Poppy Act.
GDPR.
We will be strung up. I know it sounds like a good idea, but honestly, we cannot do that. We can't.
I understand. If we can't do it, we can't do it. I was just thinking of an idea like that.
Yeah. No, we can. No, what we can do is we would, if they want to tell everybody, please do. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who've had their claims accepted. If they want to tell people they've had their claim values cleared, they can do it. But we are not allowed to do it. We've got to think about the Poppy Act, the GDPR, because remember, we are working with a lot of people's things. And you can just imagine if we were to publish something like that, and the whole world could see that, Anton, your 25 Bitcoin have been approved, we are in big trouble. You are not going to love us for that. It's not going to work. No, but honestly, direct communication with us, we do our absolute best to get back to people as well and tell them exactly where it is. And we will examine, we do that at the moment. But if everybody all of a sudden tomorrow sends us 2,000 claims, we're in big trouble. We are going to need to get extra resources to be able to deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I appreciate that, but we cannot publish people's names and things like that.
Okay, so I haven't received anything, so I assume my claim hasn't been accepted.
No, but you know what, Anton, I was told you and Hendrik went to the liquidators and it had been sorted out.
Yeah, Hendrik went there because they tried to bullshit me.
I see. Okay. All right. So, but we've sent you all the documents. So if you get that in, I will personally make sure we get that sorted as quickly as possible. Get you a figure in a commitment. We'll get you a commitment figure next week. No problem. If you get all the documents, we'll do it. You can hold me to it.
I think Hendrik has all the documents. He and Ian were there.
Okay.
With my documents, because I picked up some strange things and I showed it out to Hendrik. And he had appointment there with him with Ian. Mm. And he just came up and said, all sorted.
Okay. All right. Well, you see, if it had been Get a Quid, you would have had an email that said what had been sorted.
No.
Okay.
But Hendrik is on my side.
No, Hendrik is on your side, and so is Ian. Believe me, Hendrik is very much on everybody's side. Guys, that man is an amazing person.
I can vouch for Hendrik. Two of my friends that actually told me about MTI, and I joined. I contacted Hendrik. The shit is sorted. He helps. He sorts. He's a human being.
No, he's a good man. He's a really good man. Yeah, and he's put in a lot of work for us, Anton, over the time period that we've been busy with this. Hendrik has always been there for us as investors.
He started with me June 2018. When did this thing fall down? 2019? No,
it fell on its face at the end of 2020. In 14 December 2020 is when Steinbach vanished.
So Hendrik started working with me in October, November 2020.
Yeah. I just want to have a look. I think I've got it on this court document here.
And he's still with us. And in between, a few people came in and ran away.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been with us all the way through, yeah. And he whenever he can, he does attend our meetings as well. A good man. Now somebody should actually slag a beers and take it to his house for him. Okay, guys. If that's it, if nobody has any other questions, I'm quite happy to take more questions if there are any questions. I see you've got 2 Q&As here.
What is the LSD in brackets and QA?
Okay.
In brackets,
legal support. What was the D for? Legal support deposit, LSD. So that's, and the Q what was it? Get a Quid. It was GAQ was the others that I put behind. So if you look at the people, some are CAQ. There are a number that signed up later who didn't. So LSDs are people who have already given us legal support, or legal support people. And Get a Quid or just Get a Quid or just the ordinary Get a Quid members. It was just when I was uploading it, I needed to be able to edit because I tried to keep this closed, but I'm sure a couple of people got past me. But it was for me to be able to quickly see what a person was. So like Barry Tron, I don't know, I'm not saying Barry Tron and doesn't have an addition, so I don't know what he is. But he could be a member as well, because we did only send this invite out. The actual invite was only sent to members and people who'd given us legal support. So the group here is made up mostly of legal support and members. We sent out nearly 1,000 guys could have attended tonight if they'd wanted to. And this video will only be made available to the members as such at this stage, unless you guys think we should make it available to everybody. Let's have a vote, shall we? Everybody who thinks Barry Tron, Barry, you want to have a chat with us? Barry, put your hand up. You can talk, Barry.
Yes. I just heard my name. I was wondering what it was about.
Yeah. Have you got a question, Barry?
I don't have a question, Chris. I just wanted to hear why my name was mentioned there.
No, because you don't have an extension. Everyone else, if you look at the actual attendees, you'll see some attendees have got LSD or GAQ after their name. So it was just to identify which database the people came from. And
but I am a member, and I am registered, and I use the
link
we sent to log in.
Yeah, so it probably just allowed you to come in because you were registered. That's why.
Okay. All right.
Okay, very good. Nice of you. Thanks for chatting.
Yeah, you have a good time, man. Chris, you're doing a good job, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, mate. Okay, that's us, guys. We're all good. So maybe let's ask a question. Let's have a vote. Should we put this out so that everybody can see it? Should we put it out? So if everybody, let's see how many people put their hands up and say, yes, publish this video. If we shouldn't publish this video, then we'll keep it to members. Just put your hands up, guys. Go for your hands. See how many hands we can get. That's it. Hands coming in, lots of hands there. Come on, Amanda, you're getting down the line there. Okay, lots of hands. Okay, we'll publish it, guys. We'll publish it. We'll publish this. I see we've got a majority. Majority are saying no, publish. Okay, guys. All right, please spread the word. Get it out there. If you've got any queries or questions, we're going away next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to be attending a thing, but we'll be attending I'm attending some training. Thank you very much, everybody, for tonight. Really appreciate it. And you guys all have a good evening and keep communicating. We need to communicate with each other. Okay. Thank you very much. Good night.